Hey, hi, and welcome to A Taste of Fusion. It's Ramzan, and I'll be making my iftari menu yet again. I'm starting off with cottage cheese skewers with a little pepperoni as an attachment. For my main course, well, I'm taking egg noodles and fusing them with tuna. Have you ever heard of that? I haven't. Well, I'm gonna try it today. And for dessert, a glorious pound cake slice with a little grapefruit and apricot compote on top. And of course, I will be quenching my thirst with something zesty and fizzy. But now I'm going to go pick up my veg, get back to the kitchen and get fusing. Right, we're here to buy our produce and get back to the kitchen and get cooking. Right, we are ready to get started, and I'm going to start off with my appetizer, which are cottage cheese skewers and a little pepperoni. Now, before I get started, I've got my water on to boil because my main course is about noodles. So that's on, so when I get there, we're ready to go. Now, for my appetizer, I'm going to put together a lovely little vinaigrette. It's not actually a vinaigrette, it's a bit more of a dressing. So, about a tablespoon of sesame oil, 1 tablespoon of olive oil, and about 2.5 tablespoons of rice vinegar. Now this is a dressing just to coat the cottage cheese with, to give it that little oomph because it's going to go under a hot grill. Next step, 1 teaspoon of salt, straight in, 1 teaspoon of red chili powder, in it goes, and half a teaspoon of coriander. We'll grab a big spoon and mix it all up. Alright, now let's put it together. Here, I have this lovely cottage cheese which I've cut into rather large chunks. I'm just going to put in a whole packet straight into my little marinade. I'm going to squeeze in the juice of a quarter lemon. Mix that up. Make sure the cottage cheese is getting coated. Now, what else am I going to put on the skewer? It's like a little shashlik, so to speak. So I've got some beef pepperoni here. Again, it's a processed meat. It's come out of a packet, but it's really fun. And it's something different. I mean, we're always used to putting on chicken or, mutton or something like that. But a little beef pepperoni will jazz it up because it's quite salty. And it'll go really well with the cottage cheese, keeping everything very, very healthy at the same time. Let's get a couple of skewers going. And it's super fast and super simple. So I'm going to start off with 2 slices of pepperoni, and I'm just going to go through them like so. Then I'm going to grab a big piece of cottage cheese, and on the flat side, through the more vertical side, I'm just going to go through the center, trying to keep it all central like that. Next step, I say a little tomato always comes in handy, so just 1 little quarter of tomato like that, and voila. Now, I'm going to repeat the process. I'll take the skewer and place it on to my little oven dish, like so. So it's easily held together and I can just twist it, keeping it grilling. I'm going to create a couple more skewers like this. Now my skewers have been put together, but I'm not completely done with them. I'm just going to take a little bit more sesame oil and drizzle that on. I'm going to take a little soy sauce and just dress them with that. Okay, now this goes underneath a hot grill for about 10 to 12 minutes. Right, so that's underneath the hot grill for about 10 to 12 minutes, and of course I'm going to serve that with a lovely little, cholai salad or red leaf salad on the side. And using all the juices in there, it'll be very, very delicious. But now it's time to clear this up and get on with my main course. Right, now for our main course. Well, I've got the water bubbling away for my noodles and it's just ready, so I'll take the lid off. Make sure I don't spill everything everywhere. And now, just dunk in plain egg noodles. You get them from any store and they're readily available and you don't have to cook them that long. So for iftari, they're absolutely perfect. A quick fix and a complete meal in one. So just stir them in to the boiling water. Now I've not salted the water, I've not put in any oil, nothing. I'm just going to let the noodles become soft. Keep stirring and just make sure that they start becoming viscous and they lose that sort of hard quality to them. So give them a couple more stirs. Because I'm going to be cooking them further, I don't want them to be completely soft. So I'm going to leave them al dente. Well, al dente is pretty much for pasta. With egg noodles, you have to keep them slightly softer, but make sure they don't turn into mush in your mouth. Because now I've got a colander here. I'm going to put this in the sink. I'm going to turn the heat off and just drain the noodles. So now, very, very quickly, get my pan or my wok onto a high flame, and into my wok goes a little sesame oil, and that's just a hint of it, so about less than half a tablespoon, about a quarter, and then about 2.5 tablespoons of extra virgin olive oil, because I want to harness that olive oil flavor rather than the sesame. Once my oil is slightly heated, I'm going to put in about 1.5 teaspoons of chopped ginger, and then very quickly, right on top of it, half a packet of baby corn that I've just chopped up. This is fresh, you can get it from your grocers, and it's really, really good for you. 1 carrot that I've sliced up diagonally, and about 3 spring onions sliced. Now I'm throwing everything in at one go because I want the spring onions to release their water, I want the carrots to caramelize, and I want the little, the baby corn to take in all these flavors because it's quite a nice little sponge. Very, very quickly, keep stirring. Next, I'm going to add in some rice vinegar, about 2.5 tablespoons, and then 1 tablespoon of soya sauce. I'm just going to lift it off the fire and stir everything in very quickly. Next, I've got some lovely apricots that I've sliced up, and I'm just going to put in about 1.5. And some gorgeous bell peppers that I picked up. So there's a little orange, a little yellow, a little red, but not too many of those because they have quite an overpowering taste, and this is quite delicate, a little stir fry. I'm going to add about a tablespoon of olive oil. More, a little bit. Okay, next, I have some tuna here, just tuna and brine out from a tin. You can use any other fish. Now, I never thought tuna and noodles would come together, but I'll be surprised, or at least you'll be surprised at the end of it. So 1 packet of tuna, 1 tin of tuna, sorry. Right, so our tuna's in there. Now, you've got to add a little bit more olive oil at this point because the tuna is quite dry. And you want to help break it up and moisten it up. So, stir it all in. Next, I'm going to take 2 whole red chilies, the dry type, and I'm just going to break them up with my hands and throw them in there. Also, they act like a little pickle and they'll soak in some of these sauces, so you get that punch, that kick of red chili, but it won't be too overpowering, and it adds a little red color to everything. Then, 1 large pinch of salt, in that goes. And finally, the juice of 1/4 lemon, squeeze it right in. Make sure you don't get any pips in there. Finally, another 1/2 tablespoon of soy sauce. Another 2 tablespoons of rice vinegar. A lashing of extra virgin olive oil. Mix it all up. Throw in some sliced spring onions from the top just to add some extra green and white to it. And grab your noodles. In go my noodles straight into the top. All right, now mix everything in. And of course, immediately the noodles will take in all the oil and all the extra sauce. So once you So, sort of folded everything in. Another lashing of olive oil from the top. Pour in just a dash of soya sauce for that extra oomph. A little rice vinegar, a pinch of salt, and the secret, who would have thunk it, 3 tablespoons of fresh cream. And that is fusion in its finest. Beautiful. Make sure, try to get that every noodle has a coating of the sauce. That's when your food is utterly delicious, that everything is evenly sort of spread. And there we have it. Turn the flame off, and the main course is done. Right, so you get your pan on a high flame, and to this I'm going to add 2 tablespoons of melted butter. On top of this, I'm going to add a little olive oil, simply to keep the butter from burning. Now, I'm going to fry up some apricots I have sliced up right here. I'm going to throw them straight in. Just want to caramelize them and get them coated with the butter. I'm going to add a little sugar to this, about 4 teaspoons, and make my fried jam compote out of them. Okay, so there we go. The sugar nicely coated and they're soaking in all that butter. Make sure all the apricots are frying up equally. Now I'm going to add the juice of a 1/4 lemon to this. Just to acidulate and help it break down faster. And then, that which I had not thought before, I'm actually going to take some grapefruit and I'm just going to throw in a couple of slices. Make sure I don't take any of the pith, which I've cut off, and none of the seeds. Oh, for sort of tarty nature to it. It'll add a lot of difference to this. There we go. My butter is browning beautifully. Next step, I'm going to add in 2 more teaspoons of sugar. See how this, the grapefruit's broken down, the citrus. It's so unlike orange. It weds beautifully. So we've got a light golden caramel happening. The grapefruit has completely broken down, and the apricot is now soft but retaining its structure. Right, so this is ready. I'm just going to turn the heat off and pop it to the side. Next step, get another pan on a high heat. Now for the pièce de résistance, the final piece. I'm going to take a little bit more butter, pop it into the pan, 2 tablespoons. I'm going to pop in a couple of slices of plain cake, plain Madeira cake, gorgeous and a fantastic treat. I'm going to let this cake soak up the butter because this is my little sinful delight. Okay, so I don't want to push the cake around too much because it'll start crumbling. Just going to be careful. I'm just going to let it fry up a little bit. And without burning my hands, flop it over. There we go. And 1, 2, 3. The butter has been soaked in. The cakes are now glorious little sponges. I'm just going to let them sit in this warm pan. I'm just going to turn the heat off. And now what? Well, our appetizer is ready, our main course is done, our dessert is done. Now before we plate up, I think I'm going to make something to quench my thirst with. And what better than a peach fizz? So I'm just going to get my peach, get to the blender and conjure up my magical Taste of Fusion drink. Now I've been, sort of foraying into the world of lovely cocktails or mocktails, drink making. And I think that iftari is, you need to have something to quench your thirst with. And why have the regular lemonades, shikanjveens, etc., etc.? Why not try something different and something really fabulous with the fruit that's in season? And if not the fruit, something else. Whatever gets your fancy. But today, what I've decided to do is use peach. Actually, I'm taking inspiration from something known as Buck's Fizz, which is orangeade. It's orangeade mixed with a lot of spritzer. So, peaches, about 1.5 peach into my little blender cup, chopped up. To this, I'm going to add 1 teaspoon of sugar. Okay, now I have to mix it up. Now, what do I do to make this less stodgy or basically make it really drinkable? Well, over here I have a mix of a quarter cup of an aerated drink and a quarter cup of soda. So in it goes, pouring it in. Look at that fizzle, and that's the fizz that you're looking for. Lovely. Stir it up. Make sure everything is mixed in. Squeeze in the juice of, less than a quarter lemon, just a couple of droplets of lemon juice. Give it that little kick. And that's it. I'm done. Now I've made my appetizer, my main course, my dessert and my drink. Now all I have to do is plate it up and enjoy it. Right, so that's it, I'm done. Let me tell you a little bit about my appetizer. It's light, it's cottage cheese, it's that little mix. You have shashlik and you have all these kebabs and stuff like that, and you always think, I'm really heavy after this. Well, at iftari time, you will not be heavy after this. It'll be light, refreshing, and you can move on to a number of different things. Now, my main course, which is my glorious noodles. Now, you've got tuna. Tuna is not something that's used in noodles. I've used a lot of vegetables in there. I've used soy sauce, olive oil. I've kept it really healthy. It's not been made in a huge stock or a broth, and it's been lightly stir-fried, and it took me less than 8 to 10 minutes. My dessert, however, you see, I always think with dessert that there's most days that we deny ourselves good food or really indulgent, decadent, delicious food. That means food that's high in calories and stuff that tastes really, really good. You fast throughout the day, so a little indulgence at the end, I don't think there's anything wrong with it. A little, butter cake, a little grapefruit and apricot compote on top, just perfect. That lovely edge to that, the final flavors coming together, bringing the citrus burst to this entire meal. And of course, did I forget to mention my drink? This fantastic peach fizz, which I think is actually quite unique, and I've just garnished it with a little mint because I think mint really brings out the flavor in peach. So that is there to give me the energy I need and refresh me and make me a very happy, bubbly poppy. Right? So I think that's enough of me. I've got to go outside and enjoy my lovely, lovely food at iftari. So remember, if you want to see me fuse something or have any comments, write in on fusion@dawnnews.tv. From my glorious menu and myself, take care and see you soon. Bye.